Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stoltari, and this is Have Roots Will Travel. Over the last several years, I've been trying to get to know as many filles du roi, the king's daughters, or les filles mariées, the marriageable girls, as possible. We have been focusing our attention on getting to know them, getting to know their stories and the tapestry that they wove, not only in New France, but also in all of North America. I hope you've enjoyed what we've done so far, and we will continue until we're all done. If you like this content, please subscribe, like, and notify. Also, I want to make sure that you know that there is a Have Roots Will Travel website where you can get lots more information and look at previous episodes, all of that. So please have a look at that if you are looking specifically for one lady. And of course, if you have any suggestions, please feel free to post any suggestions that you have for a fille mariée or a fille du roi. I love hearing from my viewers. Thank you so much. And let's get started with episode number 80. Let's talk a little bit about les filles à marier, the marriageable girls. You will see from the timeline 1634 to 1662 that they did indeed come before the king's daughters, les filles du roi. These were the women that came one by one and over a 28-year cycle, probably about 10 per year it averages out. And they are truly the founding grandmothers of Quebec. These are extraordinarily brave women who came to a place that was truly a wilderness, and they created families and cities and towns that live on to this day. They were there first. And to honor them, I am also acknowledging each and every one of these filles mariées, and we're looking at all 262, I believe, that came between 1634 and 1662. To those ladies, we owe an enormous amount of gratitude. So let's get started and get to know one of our filles mariées. Filles mariées, episode 80. Jeanne Lerouge, dite Sainte Denis. So this means Jeanne the Red. Possibly did she have red hair? We don't know. This is a viewer request. I do not have her in my file, so let's get to know Jeanne a little bit better. Jeanne was born in 1627 in a commune called Joinville in France. Her parents were Pierre Lerouge and Marguerite Joly. She comes to us from the region of France known as Grand Est. And inside of Grand Est, the department or county is Haute-Marne. Currently, there are 3,000 people that live here, so it's not too small. The Château du Grand Jardin, the castle of the large garden, built in the 16th century, has been restored, and it is a wonderful place to visit. The church, Notre-Dame de la Nativité, dates from the 12th century. Don't have very much information as to the why or even exactly the when she came to New France. We believe she came to New France in 1653. The groom that she would select and who would select her, his name Louis Caroux de Lafraîcheur. He was born in 1619 in Bordeaux, France. His parents were André Caroux and Jacquette Cachaude. Bordeaux is a city with a population now of over 260,000. It is part of the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region and is part of the département of Gironde. It is known, as you would imagine, as the world capital of wine. Bordeaux's hillsides feature numerous chateaux and vineyards and proudly host Vin Expo, the world's main wine fair. So this is truly an amazing place. The history of this place dates from around 300 BC when it was a settlement of the Celtic tribe, and it was named the town of Bourg-de-Guilat. Under Roman rule around 60 BC, it became a significant commercial center for tin and lead. Despite threats from the Viking and Norman incursions and the political instability, the city found stability under the Dukes of Aquitaine. So this is a city that has withstood the test of time. And this is the church that, the church at Bordeaux is where he would have been baptized. This is an old map, what it would have looked like in the 1600s. So I wanted to show you exactly where this amazing man, Louis Carreau, comes from. In New France, from as early as 1646, he was found at Trois-Rivières. So he had established himself a great deal and obviously was looking for a wife. By the time she came, he would have been over 30 years of age. So it was time for him to find a wife and settle down. So they were married on the 30th of April, 1654. And one of the reasons we say that she came in 1653 is that no ships could have come in the winter of 1654. So we know presumably she was there as of the year before. So we find them in Beaupré. This is where they kind of established themselves for the beginning. The origins of this town, which today has about 3,500 people, began when apparently soldiers from Breton arrived here and were startled by the beauty of the place and apparently exclaimed, "Oh, le Beaupré," which actually means beautiful meadow. Looking at the picture on the right, you can see what they meant. In the 17th century, it was just kind of creating itself, and was actually kind of on the same par as Quebec City. It had, as of the 1666 census, essentially the same population. Although, of course, Beaupré has remained a small, small village, but a beautiful one nonetheless. It is actually home to the fabulous ski resort called Mont Sainte-Anne, one of the best. Now, in the 1667 census, we find Louis and Jeanne, their children, Marie, Jeanne, Marguerite, and Louise, and they own about 5 arpents, about 3 to 3.5 acres of land. Over time, they would decide to move to Ange Gardien, which actually means guardian angel. Ange Gardien is located about 14 kilometers or about 9 miles from Quebec City. Pierre Mailloux and Jean Trudel became the first two permanent settlers on September 29, 1657. A mass was celebrated here at his home, Jean Trudel's home, and in so doing, the territory of Ange Gardien was detached from Château Richer to become a parish on its own. In 1664, there were approximately 125 people living there. Gradually, the funds for a church were collected, and in 1675, a stone church was built. They did eventually get another church built in 1717, which was burned, and then ultimately the church that was replaced ultimately was set on fire in 1931. Finally, we have the church that exists right now on the same ground. And I wanted to show you that, in fact, Louis Carreau de la Franchat is right there owning that land right by the river. So it's very, very interesting to be able to see your ancestor actually with his own land, definitely part of the beginnings of this small town. Go on to have 8 children. Marie would marry Emery Blouin and have 13 children, 11 of whom made it to adulthood. Louis would die as a child at 1 year of age. Jean would also pass away at 1 year of age. Jeanne would marry Jacques Catalin and have 2 children, one of whom would make it to adulthood. Marguerite would marry Louis Prévost and have 4 children, 3 of whom made it to adulthood. She then married Mathieu Tessier and had 9 more children, 7 of whom made it to adulthood. Louise would marry François Garneau and have 7 children, 6 of whom made it to adulthood. Joseph would marry Barbe Letarte and would have 5 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. He then married Marie Pouliot and would have 1 more child who also made it to adulthood. And then we have Marie, who passed away in infancy. In the 1681 census, let's have a look. We have Louis Carreau, he's 60. Madeleine is 56. Their children are Louise and Joseph that remain at home. And we have 4 bêtes à cornes, 4 horned goats or bulls. And we have 17 alpes so he's definitely increased his land holdings to about 15 acres. Louis would pass away first. He would die in 1693 at the age of 74. He and Jeanne would have been married almost 40 years. Jeanne would live another 6 years, dying at the age of 69 in 1696, and she is buried at Ange-Gardien. She would leave us an astonishing number of descendants as of 1729, 231. Just amazing descendants. Please let me know if this is your ancestry. What a wonderful story. Jeanne left us with a descendancy of 231. She proved to us her longevity and her ability to keep on keeping on, which is an amazing feat in those amazing times. And to be a pioneer in Ange Gardien, which is literally guardian angel, I think is a wonderful blessing. Thank you, Jeanne, for your contribution, for your sacrifices, and most of all, for gracing us with your presence. We thank you and we honor your memory. I also want to say thank you to my patrons and supporters. You are the fuel that lights my fire, the wind beneath my wings. So thank you very, very much. Those of you who would be interested in also being a patron or supporter, there is a link to the YouTube PayPal button on my website. And you can also contribute with the coffee. As a supporter of coffee, there's a link to that. And if you're interested in Patreon, you can go and check that out as well. So thank you to all of you. And I look forward to seeing you on episode 81 of Les Filles Mariées. Until then, au revoir.